Evening, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Welcome to tonight's presentation, the live presentation, a bi-weekly presentation on Thursday. If you're listening to this live, welcome. And if this is part of your 12-week program, hopefully you'll enjoy this and get as much from it as you can. So tonight I want to talk about drive, consistency, and not quitting, and how we need these attributes and how they're really the key to long-lasting fat loss. So first of all, definition, and what is drive? And drive is a very strong need or desire in human beings that make them act in particular ways. So we need drive. We need that idea of where we're going, what we're trying to achieve, and really it leads us into this. And I talk about goal setting all the time. In one of your first modules, in fact, module 1 of this program, we talk about goal setting, how important this is, and various teachings over the 12 weeks will hear me constantly referring to goals, because if you don't have decent goals, you don't know where you're going to go. And the people that set goals achieve far better results than people that don't. So I always say, always start here at the beginning of anything. Always start with your goal, what you want to achieve, and also your why. And the why is probably more important. And, let's say someone wants to lose 30 pounds. It's not just 30 pounds on the scales. That's not what the goal is. It is, but it's what you gain from losing those 30 pounds and the why. And the reason we talk about having a why, a very strong why, and attaching emotion to it is because when things go shitty in life, and very often they do, your why will pull you through. It will drag you through to the finish line. When things are going really, really well in life, motivation's high, it's very easy to eat well, go to the gym, do all the things that we're meant to do. But when things are going bad, that motivation could be low, and the thought of going to the gym, I don't really want to go today, I haven't got the energy. All these things can stop us achieving what we're trying to achieve. But when you've got a dirty great why and you've got emotion attached to it, that's what's going to help pull you through. So always have a great why, attach some emotion to it, write your goal down, and daily. It's a really great practice to write your goal down daily, and do it in the present tense. Like I weigh, and put your new weight or the target weight. I weigh 30 pounds less. Let's say, for example, you're 90 kilos and you want to weigh 70 kilos. I weigh 70 kilos and then date it. Okay. It's very important to put the date. Now, will you necessarily achieve that goal in that date? Maybe not. Maybe you will. But what you do is you change the plan together to get there, but never change the goal. And also the date can change. Just because you don't hit a goal in a certain date, never change the goal. You just allow longer time to get there. Hope that makes sense. Okay, but I want to quickly look about why most diets fail. And this is a typical diet and not what we're doing in this program. First of all, there's elimination and restriction. And I've talked about this before on previous modules. Elimination, restriction, and that usually centers around the elimination of maybe carbs, or certainly a drastic reduction in carbohydrates. Restriction, no fun foods, carbs low, cutting out alcohol, all these different things, and even demonizing food groups. Many people that come into this program have been taught that carbohydrates make you store body fat, and the simple answer is they don't. It's an overconsumption of calories that make you store body fat. It's nothing to do with the actual individual macros. So demonizing food groups. So many people come into this program thinking that they can't eat carbs and that fat's bad for them, and that you can't have coffee or even alcohol or all the things that we like to have in our diet and make up a good, healthy, balanced diet. And also, calories far too low. Now, people say, well, low calorie diets don't work. No, the problem is they do work. They work far too well. And if you restrict someone's calories very, very low, when I say low, I'm talking about 1,000 calories or less, that's considered a very low calorie diet. You will lose weight, but the problem is you lose too much weight, and it's very indiscriminate, as in you'll lose body fat, but you'll also lose strength. You'll probably lose muscle mass. And so you're losing weight on the scales, but is this the type of weight that we're trying to lose? And the reality is it's not. Calories far too low in the beginning or any time, really, it's not sustainable. That's why most diets fail, is that they restrict, demonize foods, and drop the calories too low too soon. And someone typically, the cycle that I see in a lot of clients that have come to work with me, or many people in general, they go on this low calorie diet Monday to Thursday, maybe Monday to Friday, and then come the weekend they go absolutely ballistic because they're starving. And you can see they pile it all back on again, and this cycle goes over and over again. Restriction, binge, restriction, binge. And very often they don't get the results they want. And they also get a very bad relationship with food. Another reason why conventional diets fail, or most diets, is it's boring, bland food with no treats, because these are considered bad for you. What I want you to look at food is that there's nothing either good or bad. I want you to look at food as food with nutrients and food without nutrients. So let's use an example. Let's use some blueberries. Great antioxidants, vitamins and minerals, various other healthy cofactors, low carb. It's considered, quote, healthy food source. Blueberries, lots of nutrients in there. Consider that with a hamburger or cheeseburger. Crap meat, poor source of carbs, lots of calories, lots of fat, sugar maybe. But if you had 300 calories of blueberries and 300 calories of a burger, the body would still look at that as 300 calories. Now, one's got lots of nutrients and it's probably going to help on your health journey. One hasn't. But I want you to look at foods as calories and also how much nutrients they've got in it, and not whether they're good or bad. There's no such thing as an unhealthy food. Okay. And many diets fail because they restrict everything. They say that you can't have these so-called bad foods. And that's just not the case, because we're human beings. We like to, go a little off-piste and enjoy the foods. And let's face it, we're trying to lose weight to enjoy life better or enjoy life more. And if you can't have some of the nice foods that we crave and want as human beings, then what can we have? And most diets fail because there's a start and finish date. Let's say someone is very disciplined and bloody minded, and they restrict and eliminate carbs and don't have any fun stuff, and they start on this date and finish 6 weeks later, or 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. And most people diet for an occasion, like a wedding or a birthday or a trip abroad or a holiday or something like that. So there's usually a start and a finish date. Now, what happens when you get to the finish date, if the diet's been very, very severe and restrictive, that person finishes and goes, oh, I can't wait till Friday so I can go back to being normal. And you can see that mindset around going from abnormal to normal is probably an unhealthy way to look at things. And very often the diets that people are following have come from Hollywood, or Hollyweird, as I like to call it. And if they're doing it, you want to stay well away. And here was some of the, not the most popular ones, but some of the ones that I've seen in Hollywood being touted by the next best thing over, the last decade or two. And one I found today actually called the baby food diet. And famously, Jennifer Aniston lost a load of weight on the baby food diet. But guess what? She was in a calorie deficit, so she was going to lose weight. Cabbage soup diet, you'll lose a shitload of weight on that because you're just eating cabbage or eating cabbage soup, however you look at it. It's virtually impossible to even eat 1,000 calories from just having soup from cabbage soup diet. So yeah, you're going to lose weight, but is it a healthy weight? Definitely not. You're going to lose muscle, lose strength. The food color diet, this was telling people to aim for as colorful food as possible. For example, like blueberries or peppers, the oranges, the reds, the greens, because they're foods that are dense in maybe fiber, nutrients, goodness. So it's a smart way of looking at things, but you can still get fat eating highly nutritious foods. If you're in a calorie surplus, it doesn't matter how many nice colored foods you eat, you're still going to get fat. And the flip side to that, you can actually lose body fat eating McDonald's every day, which would be considered the bland looking food, the greys and the beiges and the, you know what I'm trying to say. So ignore what Hollywood is saying. And the raw food diet, what, a lot of the vegan, popular Hollywood leading ladies, particularly ladies, Gwyneth Paltrow, big fan of the raw food diet where they just eat everything raw. Um, General rule of thumb, if someone in Hollywood is doing it, I would avoid it. It's usually given some sexy name. It's touted as the next best thing. It's seen as the way that, the holy grail of fat loss. There's only one way to lose body fat. And you guys know that. It's been the calorie deficit. It's not about the foods you eat, it's controlling the numbers. And within that, we want to eat as healthy as we can while still allowing for some of the good stuff in our lives. So let's look a little bit about diet consistency. And this is where perhaps a lot of people are maybe too hard on themselves. To get effective results on any weight loss plan, you do not need to be 100% perfect. Your diet does not need to be perfect. In fact, 80%, if you're consistently 80% on with your diet, as in when I say 80%, that's the good foods, that's the nutritious foods, not good or bad, the nutrient dense foods, you're going to get big results. Again, of course, as long as you're within that calorie deficit. Okay. Now, the problem with going 100% is just not sustainable. 100% is good for however long it can be sustained for. No one can do 100% for 12 weeks. I'll rephrase, it's possible, but it's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely. Even a professional bodybuilder or anyone getting ready for a fitness show, who typically they're the hardest working athletes when it comes to diet consistency, even they wouldn't be 100% for 12 weeks. So the average person like yourself, maybe with, husband, wife, business, working, travel, children, it's highly unlikely that you're going to be 100%. So rather than aiming for 100%, typically when people go 100%, they might last for a week, fall off at the weekend. It's better to be 80% consistent for the whole 12 weeks. That's where long lasting results are going to come. And also 100% is boring. Perfect is boring. It's just not much fun. I talked about we're human beings that enjoy and like unhealthy food or food that doesn't have much nutrients. And there's not a problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We should allow that. That'll actually enable you to get much better results. So 80% is good. Allow 20% of your diet to be whatever. And that will equal long-term sustainability. And when I say whatever, it's different for everyone. Maybe you're a sweet person and it's desserts or chocolate or ice cream or something like that. Maybe you're more savory, like myself. It could be nachos or Doritos or a cheeseburger or pizza or something, which is kind of more my thing. Whatever, 20%. And that's why my old company used to be called the 80-20 Lifestyle. In fact, I've still got that email address, 80-20 Lifestyle, because the best results come from that. 80% with regards to keeping your nutrition nice and clean and where it should be in a calorie deficit, and 20% of whatever. This way, you're never on a diet. You just control calories. And a lot of people, when they come into this program, they ask me, okay, what diet do you tell people to go on? I say, well, you've already got a diet, but if you've got body fat to lose, you're eating too much of it. And as you all know, if you're watching, listening to this module, every single one of you is eating a different diet to the next person. I've never told you to specifically have a certain food type or to avoid a food type. It's controlling the numbers, controlling your total calories, aiming for a certain amount of protein, and doing that consistently as often as you can. That's the diet, but it's just not sexy. My diet would not sell in Hollywood. My methods would, my results would, but that's not what most of the general public want. And the news outlets and the media, they want to report this special name like the cabbage soup diet or the raw food diet. My diet is eat normal foods, control your calories, put your protein up. It's just not very sexy, is it? But it gets results. You want to look at trusting the process. Now, the only reason people quit is, one, they don't get results, and two, they don't trust the process on how to get there. Usually the two go hand in hand, because if you don't trust the process, you're not going to put the effort in. And when you don't put the effort in, you don't get the results. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, a vicious cycle. And the reason I use that background, you can see the guy on a tandem skydive, because I thought about, when have I not trusted the process? And when have I been really scared to something? It's when I learned to skydive. Going back about 15, no, maybe longer than that, 17, 18 years ago. So 2002, 2003, I can't remember exactly. I learned to skydive and did a tandem skydive, and then decided, for some stupid reason, actually it wasn't stupid, it was a good reason, to learn how to actually skydive myself. And that meant getting a parachute on my back, jumping out of a plane with a couple of instructors until I was qualified to do it. Now, the problem was, I didn't trust the process. I didn't believe that the parachute was going to open every time. And that, when you're jumping out of a plane at 2.5 miles up, is fucking scary. Excuse my language. I honestly thought it was a 50-50 chance. And I would pull my chute, look up, and literally pray. And I'm not a religious person. I'd be like, please, please open up. It would open up, and I'd be like, oh, thank God I haven't died. That was not a healthy place to be. I didn't trust the process. I never learned to pack the parachute. So I never really understood that those parachutes designed to open, and they're very, very, very unlikely to not open. And even if that first one did, you can chop it, you can get rid of it, and your second one, and the chances of two not opening, I don't know what the actual odds are, but I think the odds of dying from skydiving is 1 in 100,000 jumps. So it's pretty low. You know, I think there's between 5 and 8 people die a year, and there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of skydives done every weekend. It's very, very, weirdly enough, it's not a very dangerous sport. There's a lot more dangerous sports than skydiving. I'm digressing slightly, but the problem is, I never trusted the process. I didn't believe that the parachute was going to open. I was very scared, which actually really hampered my progress. So on a course, on a 12-week program, and I was on probably close to a 6-week program, learning, how to jump out the airplane, how to track, how to move around, how to land, how to open the chute, all these different, took me, it actually took me about 6 months, because I'd do a couple of jumps over the weekend. I'd be very scared. It'd be a couple of weeks before I went back, and then trying to learn in the UK is very hard because of the weather. Long story short, because of the lack of trust in the process, didn't believe the kit, I was making excuses. When I could have jumped, I was scared. And when I was jumping, I wasn't putting the effort into it. So that's just my own personal story about not trusting the process. And funny enough, I didn't quit because of that. I quit because I hurt my back, gave me a bad whiplash. Long story short, I carried on for about 2.5 years, did about 80 jumps, I think. Did quite a few jumps over in California, which was amazing. But I quit because of my back. But the problem was, I didn't trust the process. So when you trust the process, when you actually think, this is going to work, even if it looks like it's not, and understanding that weight loss is never linear. I talk about this all the time. If you're watching this within your modules, you'll have been on some of the coaching calls, and probably every call I say to someone, look, relax, weight loss is never linear. And what I mean by that is just because 2 + 2 does not equal 4 in weight loss. If you get all your weight training sessions done, get your cardio done, hit your calories, you might lose a pound. Then you might do the same effort next week and lose nothing. Then the same effort the following week and lose 2.5. It's never linear. And the one thing that we can't control is the weight you're going to lose each week. But the one thing we can control is the food you put into your mouth, the exercise that you will actually do, your lifestyle, your sleep, your water, your alcohol, stress levels. We can control that, but we can't control the outcome. And I use Samad, one of my clients, as a famous example. Famous, he's not famous, but it's an example I use a lot. He's actually in my 6-month mastery program. He lost 25 pounds in 12 weeks. Fantastic result. Very, very pleased with that. He was, as was I. But out of his 12 weeks, there was only 5 times Sorry, there was only 7 times where he lost weight. So 5 times was nothing moved. The scale didn't move. And in fact, a couple of those times he actually put a pound or 2 on. So he had a couple of weeks off, mindset wasn't there, or maybe things just didn't work. Maybe it just didn't happen. But he stuck with the course. He trusted the process. He thought this is going to work because Gav's told me it's going to work. So I'm just going to turn up every week. It's my coaching calls. I'm going to watch the weekly modules. I'm going to do all the exercises that I've been taught to do. I'm going to stick to my calories. I'm going to get my workouts done. Do what I said I do. In each of the modules, each of the coaching calls every week, I get people to say exactly what they're going to do. And he realized that progress is never linear. He stuck the course and he lost 25 weeks. And just to reiterate, the calorie deficit only works 100% of the time. The odds are in your favor. If someone's not losing weight, and this could be you, friend, colleague, someone you know that's trying to lose weight, by definition, they're not in a calorie deficit. Now, I get clients that say to me, Gav, I'm hitting my macros, I'm recording everything, I'm getting all my exercise, and I'm still not losing weight. Okay, fine. You may well be doing that, but somewhere along the lines, you're taking in more calories than you're burning, which means you need to expend more from exercise or movement or decrease the calories. Something has to change because by definition, if you were in a calorie deficit, you would lose body fat. You can't not lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. So if things aren't moving, always look at the numbers. And I know you guys know that, but it's just good to go over that. Trust the process. A little bit on failure, and we'll wrap this up. You never fail. You only learn. This kind of links back into why I tell everyone to attend their weekly coaching call. Because there will be some weeks, more chances than not, some weeks where the scales do not move. And if you've got a very, very positive mindset, it won't phase you. You'll turn up at the coaching call and say, you know what, nothing happened this week. And this usually happens with people who've got a lot of weight to lose. Maybe their self-image isn't as good as it could be. They've got some self-limiting beliefs. They've tried many things before that haven't worked. It can literally derail progress. But you never fail. You learn. You learn what not to do. Or you learn that what you did that week doesn't work. Or you learn, okay, you know what, I put a 7 out of 10 effort in this week and I didn't lose any weight. Maybe if I up that to 8 or 9, next week it would get moving. So you never learn with anything. This is life. Fat loss is just one thing that we're trying to achieve. But in life, you never fail. You only learn. Look, it's reframing the same outcome. You could say, oh, I'm a failure. No, you've learned that way didn't work. It's just a more positive way of looking at the same scenario, a reframe. You only fail when you quit. The only people that fail in this program are the ones that don't trust the process, linking back to that don't follow the simple guidelines, that don't hit the calorie deficit, don't get their workouts done. And they're the ones that say, you know what, in week 5, this is not working. I've lost 5 pounds. Everyone else has lost 20 pounds. It's not working for me. I'm different. They quit. I guarantee if you quit, you will fail. If you don't quit and carry on for the full 12 weeks, you'll lose weight. That's guaranteed. And also remember this, it's meant to be tricky. It's meant to be hard. It's meant to be a little bit difficult. It's meant to be a little bit out of your comfort zone. Anything worthwhile, any result that's worth paying me a lot of money, because you guys paid a lot of money to be on this course, and anything that is worth your time, your effort, your concentration over a period of 12 weeks, it's not going to be plain sailing. You don't just join the program and 30 pounds miraculously drops off you. You've got to get up and do the work. You've got to watch the modules. You've got to turn up to the coaching. You've got to do the work, get the exercise done, hit the calories, change your lifestyle, maybe get more sleep, maybe reduce your alcohol, these things. It's very, very simple, but it can be quite hard. So remember, the process, although it works every time, it can be tricky. But almost once you accept that could be the case, it almost becomes a lot easier. So rather than banging your head again, oh God, this is so hard, think, well, this is tricky. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And I wouldn't have to join this coaching program. So think about that. And never feel sorry for yourself. I tell you why. Because no one else does. No one else cares, right, about your problems. Only you care about your problems. And I mean that with the most respect. I'm not saying that no one cares for you. Of course they do. But when it comes down to it, we've all got our own set of problems, trials, tribulations, things that go well, things that go wrong, worries, insecurities. We've all got these. I don't care how good looking or how much money you've got in the bank. You're just as insecure as the next person on some level. So don't feel sorry for yourself. Everyone's feeling the same in certain ways. Reach out to me, one of the team, get on a coaching call, come to the weekly coaching call, look back at the numbers. The answer lies within. You have all the answers to whether you lose the weight that you want to on this program. Everything in these modules will include the answer to what you need. And if it doesn't, if you can't find it, reach out, get in touch with me, turn up at the next coaching call. But don't ever feel sorry for yourself. Okay. And this kind of ties into the fact that it's meant to be tricky. Setbacks and obstacles are necessary. I'll tell you why they're necessary. Because when you break through the obstacles, you realize how important the goal was to you. If someone said, I want to lose 30 pounds, and they just jumped in a coaching program, sat on an exercise bike and reduced their carbs a little bit, and they lost 30 pounds, it would be far too easy. It's never going to be like that. Someone sets a goal, I want to be a millionaire. They get their head down for a year or two and they've got £1 million in the bank. It's never going to be that way. Setbacks and obstacles are designed to sort the wheat from the chaff. I'll explain what I mean by that. Week 3, something goes horribly wrong. And one person, it knocks them back and they quit. And next person says, you know what, despite that, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to learn what I can do to navigate around that. They go on and achieve and lose their 30 pounds. Same obstacle for the different person, but the person that stayed the course and realized that obstacles are just there to be jumped over and to also help you realize how important this goal is to you. You can actually look at setbacks and obstacles as something that's necessary and something that is even welcomed in a way. Now, I know that's a strange way of looking at it. And this is easy said than done. A few challenges in my life at the moment. And I'm trying to tell myself as I did this presentation, these obstacles are here for a reason. They're meant to test me. They're meant to see if I can stay the course. If I push through, success is going to be that much closer. And it's tricky, but it's a case of trusting the process, not feeling sorry for yourself, and realizing that obstacles are actually going to make you stronger. And just a little quote to finish the presentation tonight, the module. When you feel like quitting, think about why you started. And this takes us back to the initial goal of when you joined the program. What do you want to achieve? Whether it's 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 60 pounds. This is the same for anything in life. Think about why you started this program. Think about the reasons behind that. Resonate with that. Think about your reason why. When you feel like quitting, literally just think, okay, I do feel like quitting. Things are not working, or I feel like they're not working. I don't think they're working for me, but I want to lose 30 pounds. And just by thinking about why you started, it can actually maybe alleviate those feelings of wanting to quit and it doesn't work, and those negative self-beliefs, negative mindset that you may have around this process. Okay, guys, that's the end of the module. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I will see you on your next coaching call and the next training module.